Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Hutchins. I'm the Executive Director of the Maine Association of Nonprofits, and welcome to MANP Connects. We've been doing these programs since the beginning of the pandemic and the lockdown. We started in April of 2020, and we're still doing them because we enjoy them so much. They are offered to you freely as someone who is either a part of the nonprofit community, as a volunteer, a board member, a staff person, or anyone who's interested in finding out more about what's going on in the nonprofit community. So welcome. Quickly, I do want to acknowledge our dear sponsors who do make our work possible. That's Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare, Machias Savings Bank, and Maine Biz. Thanks, you guys, for being such awesome corporate partners with us. Today, we are going to be talking about, whoa, 2022 is just hitting us over the head with a big bludgeon as far as I'm concerned. And I wanted to just open it up today. We're going to MANP Connects. We're going to continue in 2022. We're going to do them once a month. The third Friday, is that right, Kelly? The third Friday of each month from 9 to 9:45. And today we are just coming together to take a deep breath together and go, wow. Okay, I don't know about you, and now I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about you, but I came to work on Monday, January 3rd, and my first feeling was, I don't feel rejuvenated. I just had 10 days off of vacation and family and holiday. I even had a birthday. I thought through resolutions. I kind of put those aside. And I came into work and I thought, I don't know where it is. I don't feel ready to tackle 2022. And I felt really guilty about it. Well, it only took a few minutes and a few hours after talking with friends in the nonprofit community, both here at MANP and outside, to realize, number one, guys, you are not alone if you felt that way too. And it is number two. So I have my little list here. Number one, you are not alone if you're feeling overwhelmed by 2022. Two, it is so okay to not be okay. In fact, it's entirely justified. And you know what? If we were okay, that would suggest that we were okay with the status quo. And we're just not. We're finding out that we are not okay with the status quo. And that realizing that we're not okay can become the motivation for finding new solutions. And it's hard. Today is not going to be about easy answers. MANP, we try so hard to be a good resource for all of you, but I don't know about you, but just about every time somebody says to me, so what's the nonprofit sector going to do in 2022? I just say, I have no idea. But I do promise you that all year we're going to be asking hard questions, listening to you to find out what you're worried about, what you're wringing your hands about, and we are going to do our best to try to tease out together ideas and inspiration and solutions so that we can get through this together. Number three, just something personal. One of the things that we might get into today, I've invited some people to talk a little bit about what's front of mind for you. One of the things that we might talk about today is how are you staying motivated? How are you taking care of yourself? And how are you encouraging the people around you to take care of themselves? I'm just going to start that off by saying one thing I've been sharing with people is that it's really, and some of you probably noticed this months ago. So, you know, I'm a little shy about the fact that I just came to this realization. But I've done a pretty good job over the pandemic of my inner circle of really tight family and close friends that I've had for years and years and years, and staying in touch with them. That inner circle feels really good. What I'm really, really missing these days is that neighborhood circle. It's going to Hannaford and running into a friend without a mask and saying, oh, hey, how are you? How's your kid? And then you stand there in the middle of the frozen food aisle, frustrating everybody around you because the two of you stand there for 20 minutes catching up, right? I so miss that kind of stuff. I'm a Portland person. I've been a Portland person for years. one of my favorite things to do is to walk from where our office is at Portland Museum, near Portland Museum of Art, and walk down to Arabica Coffee House and run into people and say, oh, hey, how are you doing? I didn't realize until recently just how much I miss that second group of connections. And so I'm hoping maybe today, one of the things I'm doing is I'm starting to reach out to people like that, who I'm just saying, you know what, could we just have a frozen food section talk about whatever? The other thing is I've really noticed that I am really missing the performing arts folks. I really need that inspiration of music or spoken word or theater. I mean, that stuff is what gives us the inspiration to move forward. I can see that chat is just like going nuts, which is exciting to me. So it's also a good cue to me that maybe Jen Hutchins needs to stop talking. So in community today, here's my hope before 9:45. We're going to pack this in, folks. Before 9:45, I hope you get some affirmation that you are okay, you are not alone. I hope you get some reassurance that there are others who are facing these things and coming up with ideas, and that this is a team and all the links together make a strong web. That you maybe find a little bit of motivation, like even if you're not feeling like you want to get out of your sweatpants. Yes, it's National Sweatpant Day, thanks to Kelly, she found that out. If you're just maybe I'm hoping that you find a little bit of motivation today, even if you're not feeling it, and just a glimmer, maybe a glimmer of inspiration to try something new because you've hear something today that inspires you to read something or listen to some music or tackle something really big like our workforce shortage. And then last, just recognition. So before I turn it over to some of my friends with their thoughts, yes, this is your cue, Marty. Is Marty here? I hope, Kelly. He's going to be first on deck. Okay, good. So here, if you don't know Voulay, one of our wonderful teammates is going to put a link to Voulay's blog in the chat. He's worth following. And this is the very end of his blog at the beginning of this month. And he said, try to remember that your actions, no matter how seemingly minor, create ripples. Take two. Create ripples wider than you may ever see or know. Yes, you may be one person, but never, ever underestimate your impact, especially when you work in unison with others, unison in our wonderful imperfect sector. As the great Betty White once said, snow always inspires such awe in me. Just consider one tiny snowflake alone, so delicate, so fragile, so ethereal. And yet, let a billion of them come together through the majestic force of nature, and they can screw up a whole city. So there you go. That's my intro, folks. Marty Grohman, what's top of mind for you coming into 2020? How are you doing, my friend?
He was here. We may have.
Okay. Well, I didn't give him enough of a heads up. I'm going to assume he's going to fill up his coffee. So let's try somebody new. I did see. Is he there? You there?
Yes. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
The Zoom overlords. I'm good. Thank you. Hello from Biddeford. Yeah. I guess it was time for Windows 11 to to get installed.
Right. So Marty, tell people where you work, what you're doing, and then give us a couple shout outs of what you're dealing with.
Yes, thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate it. Hi, Marty Grohman, Executive Director of E2 Tech. I'm an unusual duck in this discussion in one way, in that I'm also a trustee of the Betterment Fund, which is a grant maker. So Betterment Fund doesn't do grant making in energy and environment, and definitely not do E2 Tech. So that's where we keep those things separated. But E2 Tech is a membership-based association that promotes Maine's energy and environmental economy. We've got about 310 member companies, names like Revision Energy, and maybe some that you don't, but are big environmental consulting firms like Stantec and VHB and Burns and McDonnell. And we do a lot of forums and discussions. I just got off of a discussion with Melanie Loisem, who's the commissioner of the Maine Department of Environmental Protection, for example, talking about PFAS, forever chemicals, and what's coming up in the legislative session. But Jen asked me to mention 3 things that we're focusing.
Oh, Marty, you're frozen. So let's pause with Marty there for a second. I'm sorry, Marty, we lost you. I'm wondering, Kelly, is Kate? I saw Kate.
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Kate. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what's top of mind for you and your organization?
Yes, thank you. So I'm Kate O'Halloran. I'm the executive director of the LifeFlight Foundation, and we transport Maine's most critically ill and injured people. And I also wanted to say good morning to, I've got a couple members from our team here today, Ashley McMillan and Brian. So good morning and thank you for all that you do. I organized my quick thoughts into 2 categories. The first is what's been helpful to us. And frankly, just like I said, the reach and relevance of our mission is actually more visible and more important than ever before. That's the silver lining, if there is one. So we're talking all the time about how do we leverage that and how do we take advantage of that and how are we going to sustain that? So we're thinking about that. The other thing that's been helpful for us is that, there is still a strong stock market. So unfortunately, this pandemic, as we all know, disproportionately impacted people without wealth. People with wealth still have wealth, and many of them are choosing to donate that, and they want to find a way to connect and do good. We had one donor who gave us $100,000. We stewarded her, thanked her. She unsolicited called back and gave 4 times that because she could. We've seen really strong donor advice fund giving. I think the rising tide of a lot of us talking about it is really helpful. I did some quick analysis. Since July 1st, we've had 110 DAF gifts come in for $470,000. So our average gift on a DAF is almost $4,400. And for us, that's a lot more than other gifts. And for us really too, it's always remembering to make it personal, make it about the people. We have beautiful imagery with shiny helicopters, which are cool. But at the end of the day, the stories that resonate for us, and we find that, are the stories of our crew, what it's like to come to work and transport, the stories of our patients, and the stories of our donors. And to that point, Zoom has been great for us in that we are trying to be more statewide with our board. So being able to do board meetings by Zoom means we're getting better attendance from the board coming to meetings. The other thing, just really quickly, key learnings. We learned that we can close gifts, even large gifts, through Zoom and email. And the only thing that was holding us back was us, not daring to ask. And that really Maine is a special place. I think the pandemic made us all realize that. So anything we can do to talk about LifeFlight of Maine and celebrate being of Maine is important. And again, you need to spend money to raise money. One of the things we realized is that people really didn't understand that LifeFlight is a nonprofit. And so we've been really deliberate. We did some underwriting with Maine Public, thank you. We did some sponsorship with Maine Mag, thank you. And we come right out and say, hey, we're a nonprofit. And this is the people of Maine taking care of the people of Maine. So we need you. So that's kind of what's on our mind.
That's great. Kate, we're just curious, where are you zooming in from today?
Fairfield, Maine, and that is a Zoom background.
Yeah, well, we were all admiring your decor.
You'll see there's no pictures in the actual picture frames. But.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well,
so thank you,
Kate,
everybody.
Thank you, Kate. That was great. And I really appreciate what she said. You're welcome to turn off your camera now and go and just listen now. But what I love about that is Kate's making this connection between what I was saying about how isolated I'm feeling. And I've gotten into some bad habits of not reaching out. Now, maybe in your nonprofit, you're listening to Kate and you're thinking, oh, right, Is there a habit of us not reaching out? And it's inspiring to me to be reminded by the success that LifeFlight has had. There is a lot of wealth out there, folks, and we should not be either hesitant or ashamed or shy about talking about our missions and letting people know. It's great. It's really, really inspiring. Thank you so much, Kate. Hey, Kelly, what I'm going to do now is just would you mind, we're going to talk about some of the big themes that we heard from all of you before I introduce the next person I asked to come on. I wanted you guys to know that we asked all of you to, when you registered, what is top of mind for you? And you can see that strategic planning, figuring out your funding situation, everything's in turmoil, right? I was just talking with Molly on our team yesterday about how all of my assumptions about where our revenue comes from and why it comes and the value propositions is all in this big dryer with bumbling around with all kinds of things. And I need to really figure out now, what are the new assumptions that I make about MANP's revenue model? So a lot of you are talking about that, fundraising. And so I'm so glad we heard from Kate, because she really offered us some hope and some good perspective out there. Staff retention, of course, staff engagement, retention, the workforce issues, top of mind for everybody across the country. Maine has been knowing that we're dealing with a demographic challenge for years, and the pandemic has just jettisoned into this crisis. And that's something that MANP is going to be exploring and sharing with you. Kelly, if you can just remind people that the National Council has come out with a report that Maine nonprofits participated in, that helps us begin to understand what the nonprofit sector is thinking about in the workforce shortage. So thank you for all of that. This is really important data for us, because these are the topics that we want to lean into in 2022 to support you. Let's move on to our next person. I think is Abby ready to go? Kelly?
You better be.
Thanks,
There
Deb.
she
I'm
is.
here.
Hi,
I'm
Abby.
here.
How are you?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? So should I just introduce myself?
Yeah, introduce
Oh,
yourself,
okay.
and then take a minute to tell us what's top of mind for you. What's going on?
Okay, sure. So I'm Abby Peck. I'm the Director of Corporate and Government Relations and Special Events at Maine College of Art and Design. So I'm across the street from MANP. Thinking about what's going on, starting with a positive, it's the fact that, 2021, 2022 has been more normal for us, which is great. Our students are back, which was amazing, because 2020 was silent. Everyone was remote. It was not the best. Being an extrovert, that was really hard. That was really, really hard. I always say I went feral because I didn't talk to anyone. It was terrible. So that's been really good. We are now on a 2-week delay. So the students were supposed to come back this week. They're not coming back the week of the 31st. We're remote. I'm going in 1 day a week, which is fine. And it's a different feeling. Like I feel okay about it. And our events were successful. We transitioned our 2 big fundraising events online, and we still got the support we needed. We still made our goal. We went over our goal for the annual fund in the last fiscal year. And so far, our fall appeal, we've hit the same number as last year.
That's
so our
great, Abby.
donors, our donors are like, okay, great. We're still here. We're still supporting you. Our Giving Tuesday was just as successful, which was great. We hit I think $11,000 during the day, which is fantastic. It's our biggest alumni giving day. So that was really good. But the challenge now with Omicron, the building's closed to outside visitors. Being the government and corporate, person, I can't have people in. And that's tough. I can't give a tour of the campus if I can't bring people in. How am I going to engage somebody and say, this is amazing, here's the artwork, here are the students, if I'm just talking to them over Zoom? That's really hard. I can't bring it to life. I can't make it something interesting if it's just me talking. Like, they're not going to know what's going on. So that's really hard. Same with the events. Like, everyone was great about, we live streamed the fashion show, which was really exciting. We had a lot of people. I was able to make it from 250 people in person to do tickets online, do all this stuff. That was great. People were amazing. It didn't bring in as much money, but we knew that, and it was fine. But I want it in person. I want our art sale in person. I am so sick of being online. I am done. I'm done with doing Zoom. I'm done. So I can't say it enough. So I'm moving forward. Like, we're going to be in person. I'm just moving forward. I'm just
Good for you.
forward. So, and when people are like, "Oh, what do you think?" I'm like, "Don't even tell me. We're doing what we're doing in person." Okay. So, and I'm not an optimist at all. I'm like the most negative person. We're going forward. So, you know, but like you said, you said about having your birthday. My birthday's Monday, and I always have an event. Last year I had a Zoom event. I had a drag queen hosted birthday party with like 45 friends. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I just feel
Yeah.
so like, why are we still here? So, so I think it's been both positive and still difficult, but I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to get through this fast and just get back to it. So, I think I'm trying.
You
But
really are, Abby.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying. But I think acknowledging the fact that our mental health collectively, and we never talk about mental health, but I think we've all kind of gotten to the point as a country and globally that we now have to talk about it, because I think we've all plummeted in some way. I don't think many of us are like, everything's great, I'm fine. I think a lot of us are like, suffering.
Absolutely. Mental health is going to be, in my opinion, it is going to be the residual effect of the pandemic that we're going to be talking about decades from now. Because of, I'm sure we have all seen that. So actually, that's a great point, Abby. Is there anybody from the mental health field actually that maybe be inspired? I know I'm putting somebody on the spot, but I'm not quite sure. We had all kinds of people sign in. And so if there's somebody who works in that area who'd want to comment on that, I invite you now to do that. Thank you so much, Abby. Thank you for being honest and offering us that perspective. But again, I don't know about any of you, if you're wondering about whether or not virtual fundraisers work, you're hearing some pretty interesting positive stories about fundraising from a couple organizations. So I really appreciate both of you, Kate and Abby, for sharing that. The next person I'd love to hear from is Julian Rowland from Maine Initiatives. I saw you on camera, so I think you're still there. Julian, are you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah, I am here. Thank you. I'm trying to turn my camera on, if that's helpful.
Okay.
Well,
it would be helpful.
Yeah.
It would be great to see you. Where are you calling in from?
I am calling in from so-called Freedom, Maine, Wabanaki territory. So yeah, thanks for having me here. And it's great to see so many friends. There you go.
Hi, Julian.
Hi, thank you for having me again.
Thank you for being here. So what's top of mind for you? How are you?
Sure, yeah. I'm grateful to be alive and healthy. Yeah, and what's top of mind for us, Director of Grants for Change at Maine Initiatives. And for those who don't know, we are a small public foundation with a focus on racial justice. Have some colleagues here today as well. I'm also a board member at the Cooperative Development Institute. So top of mind for us, obviously, are the ways in which our communities have been impacted, by COVID. On top of the pandemic of white supremacy and settler colonialism, right? So that's very present for our communities. And it's incredible to see how our communities have sustained through this and come together. We just went through a grant making cycle where we talked to about 40 different BIPOC-led, Black, Indigenous, people of color, community of color-led organizations to really get a sense of what their focuses have been, and their priorities, and also what their ask of the broader community is. So top of mind certainly is to listen to learn from, to center, the experience of our BIPOC communities, with the understanding that none of us can be free until Black people, Black women, trans, right, Indigenous, Two-Spirit folks are free. So we keep that in mind, where, George Floyd wasn't just a moment. So we're also trying to remember, remind people that we can't move away from that. And that's a fear of ours, right? That especially in philanthropy, that was a thing, and everybody sort of like corrects for a moment and then returns back to the way things were. So we're really trying to intervene on that. Yeah, I mean, we're focused on relationships, carving out time, slowing down, prioritizing relationships and connecting with people. And I know, like you just heard, it's challenging over the Zoom, right? We want to be in person, but it also gives opportunity, right? So that we're not running all around the state and trying to connect with folks. We can say, hey, let's sit down for Zoom, or even if it's a phone call, meet people where they're at.
Exactly.
So,
Julian, I thank
yeah.
you. And I stay there because I have a question for you. But yeah, that's exactly how I feel with our situation is we didn't do anything like this, where we prior to the pandemic, MANP had member meetups, and we'd go to different places and we'd invite people in, and we tried to do that kind of thing. But this MANP Connects that we've been doing for almost 2 years now is like just exploded our opportunity to welcome in new voices. And so I wonder if you could just reflect on that a little bit, of the pluses and minuses of that, and then also just to your point about making sure that we're centering communities, that the non-dominant communities that, I personally have just, my understanding and well, I'll just leave it at that. My learning and understanding has just grown so much in the last 2 years. And part of that is because it's easier for me to reach out to, Maria Gerard, who's running Wabanaki Health, and Claudette Danina Hadzi, who's running In Her Presence, and finding out what's going on. I wonder if you could talk a little more about how Maine Initiatives is cultivating those relationships at a time during these new times.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. And I agree. I do think, people of the global majority have been dealing with genocide and pandemics, right? And so they have, through their connection to ancestors, have a lot of wisdom to share. So I guess maybe that's one, is to come from that place of these are the experts in terms of dealing with the issues that they're dealing with, and not assuming that we know with what folks want and need. So really it's decentering ourselves. It's also helpful that myself, the other director, Desiree Vargas and Akaniwa, are already in community, have relationships, right? And building through that, with trust. I know that's said a lot, but that really is important. I think, yeah, taking time to listen, and that's a skill I feel like that can be cultivated, and being willing to take risks and sacrifice what we think we know, or the way that we've done things, or the way, the industry or our sector typically does things, but really taking time to really investigate why do we do things like this, and asking, are there other ways that we can do things that actually allow for more liberatory practice, that actually bring more voices in, that actually decenter ourselves in the way we've been doing things. So, there's some risk in that, certainly,
Yeah.
and some sacrifice, but
Yeah.
I guess that's,
Thank you.
if that's helpful, how we approach
Yeah,
it.
no,
Yeah.
it's great. It's really great. And I'm I'm really grateful for the work that Maine Initiatives is doing in this area. Thank you for being a convener and a facilitator. Before I let you go,
Yeah.
what's something that you do for your own self-care?
I'm sorry, it's something
What's
that
something that you do to keep yourself? We've heard from Abby, who is very honest about how she's just done with not being in community in person with people, and the
Yeah.
mental health that we all need to take care of ourselves. And I just wondered if something came to mind for
Yeah.
you. How do you give yourself, feed yourself that to have the energy to keep going at it?
Yeah, I mean, two things came immediately to mind when you said that. My father was a jazz musician, and so I make sure that I'm listening to music all the time, and I'm singing and I'm dancing at home.
Oh, great.
And I also, yeah, make sure that I cultivate space, BIPOC only space, where I can connect to BIPOC folks, because I'm able to show up in a different kind of way, and that feeds me, you know.
That's great. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Julian. So Kelly tells me that we might be able to get Marty back. Is that right?
I'm here. I hope it's working. How does it look? Is it working?
You look great. You look great. But yeah, so quickly, so in case we lose you again, what's top of mind at E2 Tech?
Yeah, I want to thank Abby for her comments, Julian, everybody. Top of mind at E2 Tech, I wrote down a couple of things. But I guess the biggest thing that I wanted to say that we are trying to do in this upcoming year is get into some of the kind of third rail topics in energy and environment. We are hopefully kind of a safe space to talk about New England Clean Energy Connect, the power line, aquaculture, offshore wind, all the things in energy and environment that are very controversial. And I'm trying to push the organization a little bit, is we will never take a side on one of these things. That's not what we do, but somebody's got to be that round table. So I think that's a big focus for us in 22.
Excellent. Great. And how are you guys doing in terms of, as a team, how are you taking care of yourself, Marty? How are you staying? Because I think you consider yourself an extrovert, don't you? Are you missing the lack of in-person stuff?
Oh yeah, very much. We've continued to do in-person stuff. We did 5 in-person events over the summer, all of them outdoors. We got 60, 70, 80 people for each one. We actually had 105 people for an outdoor event on December 1st at Foundation Brewing. And we want to keep doing that, and our members want us to keep doing that. Abby is right from Mecca, I think. And I think if you can put together the right venue and event, obviously I'm glad we don't have one today, but there's a real thirst for some in-person stuff to just get away from the screen. So we're going to keep doing that. It's a nice way for us to feature members too. And we did a couple on farms and so forth. So you're kind of a lot of logistics to put together, but what is the saying, work on Zoom and network in person type of thing. I think we're trying to keep that going.
That's a great point. Thank you very much, Marty. I appreciate you suffering through technical difficulties and coming back.
You're the ones that suffered. Thank you. Sorry.
It's good to see you.
You too.
Okay. So one thing I'll just mention to people, if you don't follow the weekly newsletter, MANP newsletter, so deftly put together by our newsletter editor, Molly, we did ask a poll of who's having in-person events in the spring. And, it was really all over the map. There wasn't a super majority of whether or not people are doing in-person or virtual or hybrid or still wondering, scratching their heads what they're going to do. But I'm just thinking about what Kate has said, Abby has said, what Julian has said, and what Marty has said, is there's a lot of interesting observations in there about how we can take risks, invite new people to, or go experience other people's communities, and people want to be together. And yes, it takes some time and logistics, but there is success to be found in finding ways for us to convene together. I am now going to ask if there is anyone on the MAMP team who has an observation that you'd like to share, given the conversation today. They love it when I put them on the spot.
Do we?
Kelly, what are you seeing in the chat?
I'll be brave,
Katrina.
Jen.
Yeah.
Oh, hi,
being
Katrina. Wave
bold.
to everybody. Everybody, this is Katrina. She's our Director of Education. She's the one that puts together all the great stuff that we do, Leadership Institute, all the training programs that we offer. What's top of mind for you? What are you thinking about today, Katrina?
The thing that has stood out the most out of this conversation is the fact that we all need to practice listening more. And that's something that I personally plan to make one of my priorities in the coming year for sure.
Great.
And I think
Thank
that
you.
helps inform our programs, and it just enriches everything that we do.
Thank you, Katrina. I appreciate that. Who else on our team is willing to come on to the screen and say hi?
Well, I'm just saying Katrina got a shout out because she's on the board of crisis and counseling centers.
Oh,
so.
yes, that's right. Great. That's great. Kelly, will you turn on your camera and say hi, please? Say hi, everybody. This is Kelly McCormick. She does marketing and development for MAMP. She's one of our great external partner people, and she is the magic that works with me on MAMP Connect. She and I really love putting this program together for you. What's your takeaway for today?
Oh, I think the one thing that I kept coming back to was the silver lining of doing virtual events and hearing folks saying how much they liked being in community with such a larger group of people all over our great state. I have found that personally to be one of the most rewarding experiences about doing MAMP Connects and having gone through virtual programs. And so yeah, that it's been really special. And but once again, thank you to everybody for being here and to our pop-up panelists for being willing to hop on camera and share. So thank you.
And by the way, yes, that's product placement. MAMP Connects is sponsored by Carhartt.
I've also got our awesome mug.
Yeah.
Thank you to our board of directors for our
That's
holiday
right.
gift.
Shout out to our board of directors. Oh, I wanted to mention that if you are on a board, never underestimate the value of just telling the team how important their work is. We thrive on appreciation at MAMP. It's definitely one thing that's helping us get through. So just encouraging you that if you are on a board, it never hurts to send an email to someone who's doing a lot of work and saying, thank you, what you're doing matters. So Molly, I haven't seen you yet. What's up? Can we give you a little
Hi,
bit
everyone.
say
It's
hi?
so good to be with everybody. Hello.
This is Molly O'Connell. She's the assistant director of MAMP, and she is the magic behind a ton of things, and including our help desk. How many more help desk questions did we talk about? Do
I don't remember. I think it's up 80%.
80% in 2021. And I think you determined recently some of the top themes, right?
Yeah, there's, it's interesting. We were looking at the themes just in 2021. We haven't necessarily compared them back, but we're seeing a lot of questions about governance, which is something we're really interested in as well, both have programs and services on, but like many of you are interested in how can we reimagine what effective governance looks like and what alternative models should we be learning from that are out there and trying out maybe in more circumstances. So that's a big one. And then we know staff and volunteer management, especially hiring. We have a lot of empathy for the challenges that we're hearing. We ourselves had a longer than expected hiring process this fall due to the market, and know so many people are struggling with how do we fill positions that are doing really critical work in communities, and that there's real consequences to not being able to hire for those. So if you're experiencing that yourself, you're definitely not alone. We're seeing that across the map. And you had already mentioned strategy, right? How do we reimagine everything, our work and our revenue
Yeah.
models and our staff cultures and our board cultures. So that's another big one.
Yeah, thank you, Molly.
Yeah.
And then quickly, Katie, can you say hi to everybody? And then we almost have the
Morning.
whole team. Hi,
Yeah,
say hi.
morning. Hopefully you can't hear my screaming toddler in the background.
No, this is Katie Manser, everybody. She's our membership manager and she is awesome. A lot of you probably talked to her over the last couple of years. She is also key to our help desk and making sure our members are getting the most out of their experience with MANP. So I just wanted you guys to say hi to Katie. Good morning, Katie. I'll let you get back to the toddler. I just wanted to say hi.
Thank you.
And I also, hey, Kelly, can I put is Mary Alice here? So I'm really excited. I don't know if Mary Alice was able to join us, but MANP has hired a new public affairs manager. Mary Alice Scott is going to be joining us in mid-February. She'll be part of the MANP team. I'm really excited about that. I wanted to mention that. Okay,
She's here.
so what's that?
Hi, Mary Alice.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, how are you? Yay!
Hello.
Mary Alice is going to be joining the MANP team in mid-February, and we are so excited. So I don't have time for you to say anything. I just wanted to say good morning and say how excited we are and introduce you. And we'll make sure that Mary Alice comes back on to another MANP Connects. So we'll see you in February, Mary Alice. Okay, everybody, I always promise that we're gonna wrap up. So much to say. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you got something out of our session today. MANP has your back. We're gonna be asking these hard questions. Stay with me though. I have a very special guest, okay? But quickly, see you on February 18th for the next MANP Connect. Stay with me, stay with me. Thank you again to our Harvard Pilgrim, Healthcare, Machias Savings, Maine Biz. We love you guys. And now, drum roll, please, one of our favorite people, Aram Mitchell. How are you?
Hello, dear friends. Good morning.
Oh,
Good
it's
morning.
so good to see you. Okay,
Beloved
everybody,
community.
we asked Aram to come and share with us very briefly something that can take us out today into 22 with some hope and inspiration. And you were the first person that came to mind for us, Aram.
Well, I've been imagining myself just walking on this path alone. And I was so heartened, Jen, when you said at the start of this that we are not alone. And so my image has shifted from this path that I'm walking alone to this confluence of many paths and these many peopled paths. And here we all are. And I'm not sure kind of what comes next, but I know that at this confluence, no matter how many aches we have been carrying with us along the way to get here, these aches are no longer ours alone. No matter what new discoveries and hopes we've been carrying with us, these discoveries and hopes and celebrations are no longer ours alone, but they are shared. And I feel like we'd be silly after Julian's suggestion to us, we'd be silly not to end with a song. So I'm going to sing for us the song that Bilbo sings when he sets out his door on a new adventure. Dropping the lyrics into the chat. If you want to sing with me, you're welcome to join me. But as we go today, go with this song on your lips and in your heart. The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road has gone, and I must follow if I can, pursuing it with eager feet, until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet, and whither then I cannot say. Wherever you're heading, I'm grateful we're heading that way together. It's a good day for a shared adventure. Let's go create some whipples.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, fellow snowflakes. Take care.